Yeah, once again, good evening to everyone. Today we're going to discuss about function. What do you mean by function in Python and how can we use functions in our programming? In the starting of class, means in the introduction of the class, I have explained you that Python is functional programming and object-oriented programming. It supports functional programming and as well as object-oriented programming. So where we can see this functional programming and object-oriented programming. If you take C programming is functional programming, and C++, Java, both are object-oriented programming. But coming to Python, it supports both functional and as well object-oriented. So like that, we can say it supports two types of programming. Today we are going to discuss about functional programming. Before discussing what is the functional programming and how it works, first we need to know the basics. What do you mean by function? Okay, function is nothing but a block of code. So block means we can say that number of statements. Let me take the pens, work fine. Yeah, so function is a block of code. Block of code nothing but, let's say this is a block. This is some code, whatever the maybe logic, print, or else something else. Okay, you can write anything, right? So this is block. Whatever you want to write in Python, that can be treated as the block of code, and which only runs when it is called. Called means there are two ways to define the and call in the functions. In the next slide, I will explain you that. And we can pass the parameter, nothing but input. Parameters nothing but inputs, and return or print will give the output. So where we can use functional programming? For example, if I want to do, or if you want to repeat the same code for multiple times, same code, because of my requirement, I want to repeat for multiple times. If I say print hello, or print some, or print some, let's take some 10 lines of code. If I want to recall, or if I want to use this same code for multiple times, if I use all these 10 lines, if I want to use 4 times, 4 into 10, almost the code lines will be 40 lines. But using function, simply we can reduce and we can optimize, we can concise the code to some 5 to 10 lines only. We'll create one thing and we'll use this function for multiple times. So this is the purpose of the function in Python. So I have told you that code for multiple times, and the main advantage of functions is code reusability. Code reusability. What do you mean by that? Whatever we are writing the code, block of code, I have already told you, block of code can be used for multiple times. For example, if I write function and if I want to use this for multiple times, simply I can call the function name. I can call the function name and no need to write whatever the code is inside the function name. Simply I will call, for example, hello. If I want to write hello, and in this function name, this is the, let's say, function name, and in this function name, I can write multiple lines of code. If I want to recall all these function, all these lines or all these statements, I no need to require these all the lines. Simply I can recall only hello. Automatically, these statements will follow these functions. So while we are doing programming, you'll know that. Okay. Now, what are the types of functions we have? We have built-in functions and user-defined functions or custom functions also. What do you mean by built-in function? Whatever comes with Python means by default, implicitly, if there are functions, then we can say that built-in function. For example, let's say print. Print is a function. Print is a function. ID is also function. This comes by Python packages or Python software, right? And second thing is user-defined functions. User-defined function, a programmer can create that, or a user can create that, or a Python developer can create that. It's our own function. So we can create whatever we want using functions. It's our wish. This is from our wish, and this is from Python. Okay, let's go move forward and we'll check. Yeah. If you check built-in functions which are coming along with the Python automatically with the Python. Those are called built-in functions or predefined functions. Predefined means automatically which comes with the Python. And these are the examples. Of course, we are very familiar with all this. ID for memory, to find the memory address of that object. Len means length of that objects or the number of elements present in that object. Type, what is the data type of that object or the variable or the identifier. Input function, so whenever we are dealing with user defined or a user interface, then we can go for input. Eval, I didn't discuss about this eval. After these functions, I will explain you what I mean by eval. Eval is one kind of mathematical formula. While we are dealing with some mathematical analysis or some mathematical calculations, then we can use eval. And of course, we are very familiar with print. Print is also function. Just remember, whatever you want to define that, simply function name, the syntax or the naming of the function looks name and parentheses. Of course, in parentheses, we can pass the parameters. Okay. Name, function name. Here, ID is the function name and parentheses. Type is the function name. Parentheses are the round bracket. Like this, we can define the functions and built-in functions. These are the built-in functions are the functions which comes with a Python automatically are called a built-in function or predefined function. And now this is a thing. So we don't more discuss about that what we call built-in functions, because based upon our requirement, our need, then we can approach those functions or the built-in functions. Here, focus on here. This is very important. User-defined functions. The functions which are developed by programmer or user explicitly, means we need to create our own. It's not automatic. It is manual. Okay, explicitly means manually we need to create functions. That's the reason these functions defined by user or programmer. And you can check here according to our requirement. Okay, already told you that where there is need, then we can create our own functions. Those are called user defined functions. And here there are two parts whenever we are dealing with user defined functions. One is defining the function, second one is the calling the function. What do you mean by defining? What do you mean by calling? Simply defining means creating the function. Defining means creating the function. For example, I want to create one function here, def. I'll explain you what do you mean by def. What do you mean. Here, sum is the, or this entire is defining the function, or I am just creating the function. If I want to use this function, simply you can call this one sum with function name 10, 20. Okay, like this. What do you mean by defining function? Defining is nothing but creating function. What do you mean by calling function? Usage of the function, where I want to use this function. This is called calling and this is called defining. So simply, first we will create one function, then we will use. Usage of the function is nothing but calling, and creating the function is nothing but defining. Now, how can we create a function? That's the question here. Simply, you must remember DEF. Don't say that DEF, def, not def. It's simply DEF. What do you mean by DEF? Means defining or definition. Definition of the function or the creation of the function can be created a function using one keyword, that is DEF. DEF, and whatever we want to give the name for that function based upon our requirement. Here I am using a plus b means summation, so that I can use summation, or else I can use add. Add is the function name, right? So for example, if I want to use multiplication, mul, this is the function name. Now parameters. Parameters are inputs to this function. Inputs to this function. Here, what are the inputs here? A, B. If we give A value 10, B equal to 20, then it adds both 10 plus 20. That is, it gives return. It returns 30. It returns 30. If I don't give input to these values or this function, it will not show any kind of output. That's the reason we need to give input. There are some conditions. If you are dealing with only print statements, so no need to require. I'll show you how can we use without parameters also. So here, sum is the function name, and a comma b are the parameters, are the inputs to the function. And what else? Return. Return means after doing this, what we need to give the output as. Return gives the output. Of course, it's optional. This return is optional. I can write define. Let me clear this. Define function name nothing but let me take Python. Python is the my function name, and let me close this. And I can also use print also if I want to print the result. Print hello. Yes, it's valid. It's a valid function in Python, even though I did not pass any parameters. Okay, so, and you can also return hello. Okay, like this we can use functions. So how can we create a function? DEF, it's compulsory. let's take one function. Let me take some user and parentheses close and print hello. Now it's creation. Creation is completed. How can I call that? First part is over, and you need to use that. Creation of a function is not only sufficient. In fact, if you want to use that function, you need to call that. How can you call that? Simply using this one. User. Now it is called. Now what happens is it will what we call Python interpreter will compile or interpret this value. Then it comes to here user. Okay, user is there and it is creating function. Where is the user definition? It searches all the program or all the code. Then it will find a user. Okay, it will enter to here. Whatever inside that will be printed. So I'm repeating the statement. Just focus on that. Okay. Okay, so I call user. So Python will starts interpreting the code and it will find user with parentheses. So automatically it will understand, okay, it is function. So this is called, but what is the definition? What is the meaning of this user? Then it searches all the code and then it will find that user and it will enter into that. Then whatever we have given the logic or we have given the print statement, then it will be printed. So what I mean by parameters I have already told you, then I will explain. Okay, while we are doing some mathematical analysis, then I. So I think, do you have any doubts till now? I'll show you one code. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. So how can we create the or define the function and how can we use or call the function? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, let me open the Spider. I'll show you how to create a function, simple function. Then you will understand. Where is the spider? Are you able to see the spider? Can anyone confirm that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so these are the arguments. Let me use at the end. Now, what I want to do is, I want to print hello. This is the one statement. Okay. And hello world. Next, print. Good morning. Print. Good evening. So these are the statements I want to print. So how many lines are there? 4 lines of the code is there. Now let me execute 1, 2, 3, 4. And now instead of all this, I want to print this for 10 times. Okay. If I want to print this 10 times, what is the loop we can use? Indentation must be there. Okay. Syntax error. Fine. You can check here. And but if I want to use all these in some cases, so I cannot call this for loop because it is repeating for 10 times. So I want to decide how many times it should be. So that what I'm going to do is I want to create a function. So creating the function, the keyword is def. You can check that automatically. The color of the font is changed to purple. Def, you can check here. Def method function. Method means whenever we are dealing with the object oriented programming, then you will know that. Here, def function, it is also used for the function. Okay, check here. Function arguments, keyword arguments. Okay, so I'll explain you what you mean by star args and this double star kwrgs. Don't think it's a multiplication and don't think it's a power. Okay, it's a parameters. So whenever we are going to deal with the variable length parameters, you'll know that. So at the end of the class, you'll be very familiar with that. And what I'm going to do is function name. Wishes. I want to create wish. Okay. Now print hello one. Next print hello world. Print good evening. Now I have created a function. Now it's finished. There must be indentation. Now I want to, okay, let me execute this one. Now there is no error, so that it's not showing any kind of error. Now I want to call that. I defined that function. Now I just want to call that. Simply you can say wish. If I execute this one, see here, hello world, good evening. I didn't write any print statement here. This definition, wish definition is in this. Let me change this one. Wish instead of fish. I want to take some REJ. Now I want to print. Let me execute this first, and I want to execute this. Oops. Okay, already it's values are stored, I think. Okay. See here, name error. Name is not defined because wish is the function and it searches all the code. Is there any wish, is there any execution till now, like that. Now, let me change the function name. First, I want to create the function. It's created and RH. See here, it's printing that. I want to call again. Multiple times. I want to call again. I want to call again. So 4 times. See here. Like that, you can create a function. It is without inputs. Or else, let me take name equal to Mahesh. So here name, you can pass the name. It's a input and name. Let's write a string. It's fine. F. Now first I want to execute this one. Okay, it's good. And name is defined. And let me call this one. And the input is name. Okay. What happens here? I'll explain you. Wait. Mahesh. Hello. Hello, Mahesh. Okay, let me execute once again so that we'll have clarity. Mahesh, hello world. Okay. Mahesh, good evening. So what happens here is, let me take pen. Now I created a function with the input name. The input name. So input is from user side. I have written here Mahesh. If you want to change that, you can change. Now what happens here is how Python execute the program is, first it creates the function with the function name Raj and parameter name. Now I want to pass a input to this function. So you have to call this one and input must be given before it's calling. Before it's calling, you need to give the input. So this is what's happening. Wait. Fine. Now it's created. Okay. What happens? Okay, let me clear all this. Again, I want to start from start. From starting, yeah. It's created. If I don't use that one, name is not defined. So first I execute that and then see the process is the name Mahesh, name Mahesh will replace the name, and this Mahesh, the name will be replaced here. It will comes here Mahesh, and again this name comes to here. That's what it's printed. Simple. It's kind of replacing. Mahesh is the input, and this is that one, and it will replace this my name, and you can check here. This is all about a simple Python functional programming. Now, instead of this, I want to name No, I don't want to this one. I want to directly write here. Name equal Rajesh. Print that. Rajesh, hello. Rajesh, hello world. Hello. Rajesh, good evening. Now I want to Suresh. You can check here. So I think you are very familiar with Zomato chatting. So simply what's happening is, let me create one kind of that. It write like a Zomato, and Zomato the customer name. So whenever we send a message hi, what it prints? Hello, good evening. How can I help or assist? Whatever it is. Now I want to call. I have defined the function name. Now call the Zomato. Showing indentation Zomato. And if you enter the name equal to Rakesh. First execute that function. Don't the problem is you are not very familiar with the spider, so don't execute line by line. For functions and loops, for the functions and loops, this is one line. The tool combination of two lines is simply treats one line. So whenever you want to execute that, simply execute all these things. If I don't execute a total, simply it shows error. Check here, indentation error. If I this one indentation error like that, okay, it is print right, so it won't error. It won't show error. Let me execute this one. Now creation is over. Now I didn't mention the name. Hello, name. Yes. Once again, I want to execute this one. Now, Rakesh is chatting with the Zomato customer. First, he sent hi. Then what happens from Zomato? Hello, Rakesh. Good evening. How can I help? Like this, we can chat. We can create a chat kind of application. Okay. So, any doubts till now? Do you have any doubts? If you have, ask me. Okay. Now, let me share the PPT. So this is how we have created. You built in what is the function, built-in functions, and user different function. Now, we are going to deal with very important topic, that is parameters. Parameters. Parameters, I have already told you, inputs to the functions. Right? In previous example, I explained name is the input to the function. But we have different types of parameters. We have almost 4 types of parameters. So how can we define those parameters? Like types of parameters are the types of arguments also we can call. Okay, parameters are arguments. We have 4 types of arguments in Python. One is positional. Positional arguments are the positional parameter or the positional based input. Second one is keyword. Third one is default argument. Fourth one is variable length argument. So what do you mean by positional argument? What do you mean by keyword arguments? What do you mean by default argument? Okay. Now I'll explain you one thing and I'll show you the output. Then we'll take a break, and after break we'll finish remaining also, if the time permits. Right. Positional argument. This is the first type of arguments when we are dealing with the Python. And see here, these are the arguments or the inputs or the parameters passed to function in correct position order. What do you mean by correct position order? Let's, the number of arguments and the position arguments must be matched. If you change the order, then results may be changed. Okay, fine. If you change the number of arguments, then we'll get error. Okay. So just keep it in mind, and then now I'll explain. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm creating one function that is defining is the keyword to create a function, and mul multiplication, that is function name, and a comma b parameters or arguments are the inputs to the function. Now print a star b, that is a multiplied with b. Okay, only just focus on this multiplication. Here also we are doing multiplication. What's happening here? We have created one function which multiplies a and b. This is defining. Now I want to call or using. So what's happening here is multiplication. Whatever the first position is given, that first position is the first value is assigned to the first parameter. Now mul a comma b 100 comma 20. Here, based upon the position, the first position is a, the second position is b, the first position is 100, the second position is 100. So the function takes the first position value to the first input value or the first parameter, and second function value take, or second value is the taken as to the b. Now it is 100 and this is 200. So the same values will be passed here and here. So 100 print 100 into 200. So output is, let's say, 20,000. This is one type. Now, second example, mul 100. The first position, based upon the position, it takes a and it takes p. Right? Now, a value is 200, b value is 100. 200 into 100, it is 20,000. Of course, we got same, but it is application, right? Multiplication. 10 into 20 or 20 into 10, both are same. Instead of multiplication, I am taking minus. Now the question for you, what are the outputs for this one and this one? Just give the answer and let's take the break. Here, instead of star, I'm taking minus. Now, what are the values? Give the values or the output. Let's take, this is the first one. This is the second column. And what are the values? Question for you. Everyone has to respond, please. Yeah, already one has responded. Okay. Good. Good, Asha. Good. Next. Respond. Please respond. Okay, someone. Shivani, good, Shivani? Who's the good? One comment, okay. Nandini, good. Yes, remaining. Okay, 10, 20. Okay, Navita, good, but not exactly. Answer is, okay, someone said, this is 3 minus 100. Okay, good. What about second one? You are giving only first statement, this one only. What about this one? I'm explaining you that. So as I said, it is minus. Some people are saying that sub. Why you are using sub? No need to write that one. Simply what's happening here is, where is that size of that? Okay, I'm searching for, okay, fine. Right. Here, whatever we define function name, you need to use that one only. I said MUL. So Python search for the mul and the value go to A and this value go to B. I said A minus B means 100 minus 20. What is the value? Minus 100. This is for the first one. And second value. And 200, 100. Again, A minus B. 100. Okay, 100. 200 minus 100. Simply, it's 100. These are the values. Okay. So let's take a break for 5 minutes and we'll once again we'll meet and we'll complete the remaining arguments also. Okay. Just take break and the time is now 7:50. We'll meet again 7:55.